There are around 4,500 cities on Earth, billions of places to live. Some of them are wonderful, some of them are fine, and some of them are so spectacularly terrible that you have to wonder how anyone ended up there in the first place. This is a ranking of the 10 worst places on Earth to live, from merely awful to genuinely unhinged, and we are going to count them down. Number 10, the Izu Islands, Japan. Japan is generally considered a pretty great place to live. Clean, organised, excellent food, reliable trains. The Izu Islands did not get that memo. This is a chain of volcanic islands south of Tokyo where the air permanently smells like rotten eggs because of sulphur venting from the ground. Not occasionally, always, every single day. You wake up, it smells like sulphur. You eat breakfast, it smells like sulphur. You go to bed, it smells like sulphur. But here is the part that really sets the Izu Islands apart. Residents are required by law to carry a gas mask with them at all times. Not suggested. Required by law. You also have to sleep with a toxic gas detector in your bedroom in case the levels get dangerous overnight. The islands were fully evacuated in 2000 when volcanic activity increased. Some residents chose to come back. Nobody is quite sure why. It is not the worst place on this list, but if you forget your gas mask on the way to work, that is a genuinely bad morning. Number 9. North Sentinel Island, India. North Sentinel Island is a small tropical island in the Bay of Bengal. From the air, it looks absolutely beautiful. Lush green jungle, white sand beaches, clear water, a paradise. The problem is the people who live there. The Sentinelese are one of the last uncontacted tribes on Earth. They have lived on this island for an estimated 60,000 years. They have rejected every single attempt at contact with the outside world. Not politely, violently. Anyone who approaches the island is met with spears and arrows. In 2018, an American missionary named John Allen Chow paid fishermen to take him to the island to spread the gospel. The Sentinelese killed him on the beach. The Indian government has made it illegal to approach the island. They protect the Sentinelese's right to remain isolated and uncontacted. So the island is beautiful and the weather is probably fine. But the Welcome Committee is a serious problem. Number 8, Ciudad Juárez, Mexico. At its peak in 2010, Ciudad Juárez had a murder rate of 272 per 100,000 people. To put that in context, the United States average is around 7. Juárez at its worst was nearly 40 times that. It sat on the US-Mexico border directly across from El Paso, Texas, which at the same time was one of the safest cities in America. 2 cities separated by a river. One of them was completely fine. The other was the most dangerous city on Earth. The cartel wars that drove the violence have cooled significantly since then, and Juárez has improved. But at its absolute worst, it was a place where thousands of people died violent deaths in a single year in a city of 1.3 million. It makes the list for what it was. Number 7. Dallol, Ethiopia. Dallol holds the record for the highest average annual temperature of any inhabited place on Earth. The average temperature across an entire year is 34.6 degrees Celsius. That is not the summer high, that is the annual average. Including nights, including winter, it sits below sea level in a volcanic depression in the Danakil region of Ethiopia. The landscape looks like something from another planet. Yellow sulfur fields, acid pools in shades of green and orange, salt formations rising from the ground. Toxic gases vent from the Earth constantly. The air smells terrible, the ground is unstable, the heat is relentless, and everything that grows there is trying to poison you. It is stunning to look at in photographs. It is a medical emergency to actually live in. Number 6, Linfen, China. Linfen sits in the heart of China's coal mining region in Shaanxi province. For years, it was considered one of the most polluted cities on Earth. The air quality in Linfen has been so consistently bad that residents describe days where the sky is simply not visible. Not cloudy, not overcast. Just a thick brown layer of pollution blocking out everything above. Laundry hung outside to dry comes back dirtier than it went up. Respiratory disease rates in Linfen are among the highest anywhere. Chronic bronchitis, lung disease, and other pollution-related illnesses are extremely common. Children there have measurably worse lung development than children in other parts of China. Living in Linfen does not kill you dramatically or immediately. It just quietly takes years off your life every single day you breathe the air. Number 5, the Danakil Depression, Ethiopia. We already visited Dallol, which sits inside the Danakil Depression, but the full depression deserves its own entry because it takes everything wrong with Dallol and adds lava. The Danakil Depression is one of the lowest, hottest, and most geologically active places on Earth. It contains active lava lakes, which are exactly what they sound like. Permanent lakes of liquid lava sitting open at the surface. It has acid pools with a pH close to 0, which is about as acidic as battery acid. It has toxic gas vents, and it regularly exceeds 50 degrees Celsius. Scientists who study it describe it as the closest thing to hell on Earth. That is a direct quote from actual scientists. Not a metaphor. Some of the local Afar people have lived in and around the depression for generations. They are incredible human beings, and the rest of us should simply respect them and never go there. Number 4. Oymyakon, Russia. Oymyakon is a small village in Siberia with a population of around 500 people. It is the coldest permanently inhabited place on Earth. The record low temperature is minus 67.7 degrees Celsius. To give you a sense of what that means, at that temperature, exposed skin freezes in under a minute. Car engines cannot be turned off because they will not start again. Pens stop working because the ink freezes. Glasses freeze to your face. Eyelashes freeze together if you blink outside. The ground is permanently frozen, which means burying the dead is a significant project. You cannot just dig a grave. You have to light fires over the burial site for several days to thaw the ground deep enough to dig. Funerals in Oymyakon require advanced planning and a significant amount of firewood. And yet, 500 people live there, year-round, by choice. Or at least without leaving. The local school closes only when temperatures drop below minus 52 degrees Celsius. Minus 52 is apparently fine for school. Minus 53 is where they draw the line. Number 3, Norilsk, Russia. Norilsk is a city of 175,000 people in northern Siberia. It was built by Soviet prisoners in the 1930s above one of the largest nickel deposits on Earth. It is one of the most polluted cities in the world and one of the coldest, and it has both of those problems simultaneously. The nickel smelters in Norilsk release so much sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere that acid rain is a regular occurrence. The snow turns black from pollution. Trees do not grow within 30 kilometers of the city because the air kills them. The life expectancy of Norilsk residents is 10 years below the Russian national average. The Russian national average is already not high, so 10 years below that is genuinely alarming. Foreigners are not allowed to visit Norilsk without special permission. The city is essentially closed to the outside world, which, when you see what life is like there, feels less like a restriction and more like a warning. 175,000 people live here. Most of them have no realistic option to leave. Number 2, the Chernobyl exclusion zone, Ukraine. On April 26, 1986, reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded. It released radiation equivalent to 400 times the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. A 2,600 square kilometer exclusion zone was established around the site. People were told they were leaving temporarily. Most never came back. The exclusion zone contains multiple areas that will remain dangerously radioactive for 20,000 years. Not decades. 20,000 years. Long after every currently living human is dead and civilization as we know it no longer exists, parts of the Chernobyl exclusion zone will still be too dangerous to inhabit. A small number of elderly residents, mainly women in their 70s and 80s, returned to their homes inside the zone illegally in the years after the disaster and have lived there ever since. The Ukrainian government eventually stopped trying to remove them. They tend their gardens, keep their cats, and live out their lives in an irradiated forest. They are extraordinary people. The rest of us should probably stay away. Number 1. Pripyat, Ukraine. Pripyat was a Soviet city of 50,000 people built specifically to house the workers of the Chernobyl nuclear plant. It was a model Soviet city. Modern buildings, a cultural centre, a swimming pool, a sports complex, and an amusement park that was scheduled to open on May 1st, 1986. On April 26th, Reactor 4 exploded. The evacuation of Pripyat began 36 hours after the explosion. Residents were told to bring identification and enough food for 3 days. They were told they would be back in a few days. They were not told the truth. The entire city was evacuated in 3 hours by a convoy of 1,200 buses. Residents left their food on the table, their clothes in the wardrobe, their photo albums on the shelf. Toys remained in children's rooms. Books remained open on desks. Everything stayed exactly where it was. The amusement park opened briefly on April 27th to give children something to do during the evacuation. It operated for a single day and was then abandoned forever. The Ferris wheel, the bumper cars, the carousel, they are all still there, slowly rusting in an empty city that nobody ever came back to. Pripyat has been completely abandoned for nearly 40 years. The buildings are still standing, the swimming pool is still there, the gym still has equipment, the school still has books on the desks, and the amusement park that opened for one day and never had a single paying customer is one of the most haunting images in modern history. That is number 1. The world has a lot of bad places to live. Pollution, heat, cold, violence, radiation, mandatory gas masks, and tribes that will kill you on sight. But nothing quite compares to an entire city frozen in time, evacuated in 3 hours, left exactly as it was with a Ferris wheel still turning slowly in the wind.